This is the introductory video to the custom GoPro housing for the GoPro 910. This housing in particular is designed to accommodate a Sony NFP750 battery. This battery pack is designed to allow the GoPro to operate for about 6 to 7 hours. The housing itself is typically used for application where a remote housing is set up. The housing is typically set up and is led to record for 6 to 7 hours to capture the image that is needed. And so an external battery is typically required in order to allow the GoPro to operate for that long period of time. The housing itself is very simple. It's an anodized aluminum housing, and it's hard anodized. It's got the buttons for on and off, and also for the mode, selecting mode, GoPro mode. The front element or the front lens is a sapphire crystal. It's designed to be scratch resistant and withstand high pressures. It's also AR coated, broadband AR coated to reduce reflection. The housing is equipped with the leak detection sensors and also the vacuum valve. There's extra ports for power, HDMI, and Wi-Fi cable as well. The housing is supplied with sacrificial anodes, zinc sacrificial anodes that would allow the housing to operate in salt water for a long period of time without corroding. So let's open up the housing and install the GoPro. In order to open the housing, all you have to do is press onto the latches here to lift up the locking mechanism. Once the locking mechanism is released, you can open up the latch. There's two sets of O-rings on the housing. One is on the main body of the housing, and the other is on the back end of the housing here. You want to inspect those O-rings to make sure there's no dust, debris, or anything, and also run your finger over them just to make sure that there's no hair or anything like that that would cause a leak. To install the GoPro, we need to remove the mounting bracket from GoPro. This requires you to remove 4 Torx screws that are mounted on the bracket. Once those are removed, the bracket itself comes off, so you can remove that. We also want to remove the battery lid. Just simply open up the lid and you can remove that and put it aside. The battery should also be removed, because if you leave the battery inside, the external battery would want to charge the internal battery, and that would cause the GoPro to overheat. So never use the external battery with the internal battery. So you can remove that. And now the GoPro is ready to be mounted. We need to take out the fixture plate, and all we have to do is unscrew the thumb nut and slide the camera fixture out of the housing. Using the 3mm Allen wrench or Allen key, you can remove the 1/4-20 bolt at the back and remove the battery plate. Next, you need to install the provided M2 screws. You only need to install 2, but if you want, you can install all 4. It's not really required, but we provide 4 bolts, but really 2 is only required. If you are going to install 2, just install them diagonally like this. The GoPro must be facing down like this. And using the 1.5mm Allen key, just tighten up those screws. You don't want to over tighten these screws because they can damage the thread. They're only M2. So once that's tightened up, you can now go ahead and install the battery plate. The battery plate, the cable, the USB-C cable has to be pointing this direction. Now you can mount the cable to the camera itself. The cable needs to go into the USB-C on the side of the GoPro. So connect the cable as shown this way. Install the battery into the battery plate. You can press onto the this button here, and this would indicate the how much charge is left on the battery. Right now it's showing 4, so the battery is full. Test the GoPro is going to turn on. There we go. Now all we do is simply place the fixture plate into the GoPro housing and tighten the thumb screw. Again, you want to pay attention to these O-rings. Make sure that these O-rings are nice and clean. There's no need to really remove them. Just make sure there's no dust or debris on them. And also, after each dive, you want to make sure that when you do remove the lid, there's always some salt water that accumulates there. You want to wipe that salt water away and not allow it to crystallize, because once it starts to crystallize around the O-ring, that may cause a leak in the future. After the housing is all sealed up, you may want to pull a vacuum on the housing and monitor the housing for any leaks before you go diving. The procedures for operating the vacuum valve and also the leak detection sensor is provided in the link below. We have a video for that. You can operate this leak detection circuit with an iOS app, or you can use it as it is by itself. The app allows you to actually measure the pressure inside the housing to know if there is any leaks inside. This concludes the demonstration of the custom GoPro housing.